Good evening, students. Today we are going to start the subtopic Company Rule Expands from the main chapter from Trade to Territories. We have seen after the Battle of Plassey, the English East India Company got the virtual right of controlling the Bengal, and after that getting the complete right of Diwani, wholesale authority of the land of Bengal. If we analyze the process of annexity of the Indian states by the East India Company from 1757 to 1857, certain key aspects emerge. The company rarely launched direct military attack on an unknown territory. Instead, it used a variety of political, economic and diplomatic methods by hook or crook to come to the power, extended its influence before the annexing of the Indian kingdoms by taking some weak points of our Rajas and Nawabs. That was also one of the reasons of controlling the most of the empire. After the Battle of Buxar, when Mir Qasim was defeated in 1764, the company appointed residents in Indian states. So in one way or another, it was known as the system in which the control of the military over the Nawabs and Rajas. And they were politically or commercially agents. And their jobs was to serve and further of the interests of the company. So one way or another, this was a part of subsidiary alliance under which the rulers has to accept the regent of the British, means a commander-in-chief from a subunit of the British army will control or reside in a Nawab's or a Raja's campus, you can say, inside the fort, and the maintenance of entire British force, and the salary has to be given by Nawab. And the Nawab, without the permission of the regent, he cannot go and meet to another Nawab or Rajas. So you can say that, children, that they were completely a puppet ruler under the hands of English East India Company. Through the residents, the company officials began interfering in the internal affairs of the Indian states and administration, and whom to appoint the successor in the throne, and who was to be going to be appointed as an administrative post. Sometimes the company forced the state into a completely subsidiary alliance. According to these terms of alliance, what I am mentioning you, the definition of subsidiary alliance, according to this system, the Indian rulers were not allowed to have the independent armed forces. They were to be protected by the company, but had to pay for the entire subsidiary forces that the company was supposed to maintain for the purpose of his protection. If the Indian rulers failed to make any of the prominent or failing to do the payment, their part of territory, means that their part of the kingdom was going to be taken away by the British. So it is to be said that when Richard Wellesley was the governor from 1798 to 1805, when he was ruling, when he was a governor of India at that time, the Nawab of Awadh was forced to give over half of his territory by subsidiary alliance to the company in 1801, as he failed to pay the subsidiary forces. Hyderabad was also forced to cede territories on a similar grounds. So when it was told to Hyderabad at that time, as we know that after the killing of Hyderabad's Hindu ruler, his commander-in-chief Hyder Ali took over the dynastic, or you can say dynasty, of Hyderabad under him. He was a fearful, you can say fearless ruler, fought against the British, and he was very near to the people of France, you can say the French forces, he kept in his fort. Until he was alive, he fought with the British and did not want it to subside, or you can say they were to follow the subsidiary alliance. After his death, his son came, who was known as the Tipu Sultan, the Tiger of Mysore. The company restored to the direct military confrontation when it saved a threat to its political economic interest. This can be illustrated with the case of southern Indian states of Mysore, which was ruled by the successor of Hyder Ali, the Tipu Sultan. Mysore had grown a strength under the leadership of powerful ruler, as I mentioned you, Hyder Ali, from 1761 to 1782. And after his death, his famous son, the Tipu Sultan, ruled from 1762 till 1799. Mysore controlled the profitable trade of the Malabar coast, where the company purchased paper, black paper which you call, and cardamom. In 1785, the Tipu Sultan stopped this trade and challenged the East India Company to leave the place. And stopping the paper, sandalwood, cardamom through the ports of his kingdom, and allowed the members or other merchants from the trading company. He also established a close watch on the British Empire and established with the French a company to modernize his army. The British was very furious with him. There was many battles was fought along with Tipu Sultan from 1769 to 1769, from 1767 to 1769, from 1780 to 84, 1790 to 92, and finally 1799, when Tipu Sultan was killed by defending his capital Srirangapatnam. Later on, Mysore was placed under the former ruler of dynasty of Wadiyas, because as I mentioned you, he was a Hindu ruler who was ruling in Hyderabad, and his commander was Hyder Ali, who had killed him and took over the region. So the British came and take over the territory of Srirangapatnam and again gave back the original rulers, the successor, the Wadiyas of Mysore. But still we know that until Tipu was alive, he never put his head down. He died bravely and he fought bravely.